Vaccines 5 years later.
The best data are autopsies. So in the largest autopsy series published to date, I know because I'm the senior author, of all the deaths we examined, and we re-reviewed them. We had an adjudication committee. We had ways of arbitration deciding on did the vaccine cause death. The answer is, of these cases that came in for autopsy after vaccination, 73.9% of individuals, it was determined that the vaccine was the cause of death. First author is Hosher and colleagues. He's sitting right behind me.
That is absolutely astonishing based off what we were told and what we were given as the reasons why we should take the vaccines. And this is a powerful indictment against you ever trusting a government, pharmaceutical, big corporations whose bottom line is to profit. You cannot just blindly trust this government, any corporation, or any pharmaceutical company that gains profit from the products that they are selling you. And this is why in this video, we'll dive deeper into this and show you why and how they utilize fear in order to compel compliance, and why you should always study, learn, and see who tempts or will profit from your participation in anything that is being mandated and or suggested to you by a government, by a corporation, by a pharmaceutical company. Allow us to bring up this next video and we'll dive a little deeper into what it is that he was talking about on this whole thing. Allow me to push this back a little bit further, get her off the screen, and get into what it is that I think it's the same exact guy in a different meeting before Congress, and he breaks down some deeper detail about what's going on. All right, we'll get them back on the screen and allow him to speak his mind.
80% of Americans took a vaccine. 20% did. 20% did not take a vaccine.
I was a part of that 20% proudly, and I knew I wasn't going to take it. And I'll share with you later why I do not take any pharmaceuticals, that I treat everything that I've dealt with, my heart disease that flatlined me 9 times, my type 2 diabetes that I have been able to reverse and got in remission, as well as even pain medicines for my back surgery. Allow us to continue to dive in. I'll break that down later in the video, all right?
The vaccine was never safe enough for me to take. Messenger RNA, devised by Pfizer and Moderna, has been chemically modified to be unassailable to enzymes in the body to be broken down.
So what does that mean? Unassailable to enzymes in the body in order to be broken down. That means this will remain in your system. And if it is causing damage, it is likely to cause further disease and or death. He'll go on to break it down.
The messenger RNA is found in the human heart of people who die after the vaccine. It's found in the brain. The spike protein is found everywhere in the body. 3 studies now show the spike protein is circulating in the blood for 6 to 9 months after people take the shot. This part of the virus, the lethal part of the virus in the vaccinated, it's circulating in the blood.
Now, did you catch that? The lethal part of the virus is circulating in the blood 6 to 9 months after you take the vaccine. And this is why so many individuals had such a tragic outcome with the vaccine. Now, I'm an individual that says your body, your choice. So if you chose to do it out of good mind, not out of just fear, then that was your choice. However, they really tried to mandate it, and they really pushed the fear mongering, and they played on your ignorance so that you can just run and think that these individuals have your best interests at heart. They do not. They have their profit at heart. Allow us to continue.
And then they take the booster, they get more circulating in the blood. It is a killer protein. It cannot be safe. It was not safe by design. Safety trumps efficacy. We cannot tolerate false drug claims. And we saw a poster behind Senator Blumenthal making a false drug claim that vaccines saved millions of lives, specifically the COVID vaccine. Well, let's take a look at that. When someone signs consent for a vaccine, Senator Blumenthal, does the consent form say it's going to save their lives? Of course it doesn't. It's not on the FAQ. There's never been a prospective, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial ever showing that COVID-19 vaccines reduce mortality or hospitalization. There's not even a valid non-randomized study. Thankfully, COVID mortality went down for 3 reasons. Because we all got the infection, vaccinated and unvaccinated, so we developed population natural immunity. We developed early treatment. Credit to Operation Warp Speed. We used all the Operation Warp Speed tools, additional drugs. We treated patients with multi-drug protocols at home so they don't go to the ER. So Governor Green never saw the patients we treated because they were successfully treated at home. And the third reason is the virus mutated to a much milder form. Those things happen concurrently with rollout of the vaccine. The vaccine cannot be falsely credited with saving millions of lives.
Let's repeat that one more time. And we're seeing this 5 years later that a lot of truth is coming out and a lot of the falsehood that was given to us, especially about Fauci and the boys, is coming to the light. Now, will he be held accountable? Probably not, because Joe Biden pardoned. Why would you pardon an individual who is not guilty of anything?
Credited with saving millions of lives. We can't allow false drug advertising to be put up on a poster behind one of our public servants. We cannot accept that. So let me quit.
So that's unacceptable. And again, the fallout from this has truly caused a lot of damage across a lot of individuals and has caused a lot of deaths. I remember my uncle, and again, they would not attribute it to his death, but he was fine. He was 92 years old, and I'm almost certain he ended up getting the shots, and maybe a couple of them. And then a few years later, or a year or two later, he eventually passed away. Not because he was 92. He was active at 92. He was driving at 92. His brain, his cognition, everything was intact at 92. But after he took the shot, again, within a year, he was no longer with us. And they would never attribute that to the shot. My family members, because I'm pretty sure 99.9% of all my family took the shot. Even my mother took the shot. Her body, her choice. But at the end of the day, those things had and did wreak havoc on the human organism. I had a client whose son was only 14 who trained with me quite often. He developed myocarditis right after he got the shot. Again, the fear that is used to entrap you into believing that you must do this in order to save your life because the government is trustworthy, that is a false belief. That is an indoctrination that is ingrained in you from when you were young. You must challenge the government. You must challenge big pharma. You must challenge corporations whenever they're suggesting something that they are selling to you. Yes, you got it free, but they sold it to the government. The government paid, well, you didn't get it for free because our tax dollars paid for it. And those who lobbied for it, those congressmen, all these individuals who have stocks in these pharmaceutical companies gained and profited. Again, we must become a little more wiser. We must become more aware of our circumstances. I did not take the shot. I would not take the shot. And I don't think I would ever take anything that they offer. To be honest with you, I don't take pharmaceutical drugs. In the last 12 years, I believe I've taken one pharmaceutical drug for maybe a day when it came to my stomach issues about 6 years ago. But over the past 12 years, I have not taken last 11 years, I have not taken any pharmaceutical drugs. And I dealt with and am dealing with a heart condition that flatlined me 9 times back in 2012, 2013. After a year being on the pharmaceuticals, I weaned myself off and said, I'm gonna go after this naturally. And I haven't used a pharmaceutical drug since. With that condition, my type 2 diabetes, they said, we wanna put you on metformin. I said, no, give me 3 months and I will reverse this. They gave me 3 months. I have reversed it. Now, when I say reversed, I'm talking about I got my numbers below the 125 threshold. There's no true thing as reversed when you had as higher numbers as I had with my A1C. So that means I still cannot just eat anything, and I have to be super cautious on carbs and sugars, almost virtually having to eliminate them. I have not, but I choose to fast upwards of 20 to 22 hours daily in order to lower the insulin levels, in order to lower the sugar levels in my body, in order to be able to still consume certain foods that I do enjoy. But I sacrifice on the back end. But still, I chose to do it and am doing it naturally. So again, I'm not telling you what to do, but what I am saying, there are ways to combat almost everything that we are up against naturally. But at the end of the day, it's your body, it's your choice. Choose wisely.